There were moments I felt alone, moments I questioned, am I the only one still choosing this path? In a world that celebrates right now, I chose to wait. Not because I thought I was better than anyone, but because I believed true love waits. And maybe you're watching this and you're tired. Tired of the pressure. Tired of people making you feel like you're too old-fashioned or too unrealistic. But let me tell you something. You're not alone. Purity is not about perfection. It's about purpose. It's not about living a flawless life or never making mistakes. It's about knowing why you're choosing what you're choosing. It's not a checklist of do's and don'ts. It's a reflection of what you believe is worth protecting, worth waiting for, and worth honoring. So many people think purity is only for those who have never messed up, never stumbled, never gone down the wrong path, but that's not true. Purity is for anyone who decides, today, I want to live differently. I want to walk with intention. I want to pursue a love that doesn't just excite me, but respects me. I've learned that the world loves to celebrate perfection. We post the highlight reels, the perfect smiles, the perfect captions, the perfect moments. But real life is messy. Real life is full of choices. Some we're proud of, some we wish we could undo. But even in the mess, there is meaning. Even in our brokenness, there is beauty. Because the truth is, God doesn't wait for us to be perfect before He gives us purpose. He meets us where we are, and He invites us to begin again. That's what choosing purity means to me. It means walking with the awareness that my life has meaning, that my heart is valuable, and that my future is not something to gamble with. It means looking beyond what I feel in the moment and asking myself, is this leading me toward who I want to become, toward the kind of relationship I'm praying for, toward the person I want to spend my forever with? Because here's the thing, when you forget your purpose, it's easy to settle. When you don't know your worth, you accept love that only takes but never gives. You start to believe that maybe love always comes with compromise. Maybe everyone's doing it. Maybe saving yourself is just a fairy tale. But purpose whispers, you were made for more. Purpose reminds you that you're not here to copy what everyone else is doing. You're here to stand for something greater. I remember seasons when I felt left out. I watched people rush into relationships and wondered if I was just being too idealistic, too naive. I had moments where loneliness made me question everything. But deep down, I knew this isn't about being perfect. This is about being faithful. Faithful to the vision I had for my life. Faithful to the prayers I whispered at night. Faithful to the person I believed was also waiting somewhere out there, trying to live by the same convictions. And let me say this gently. If you've made mistakes, you're not disqualified. Your value hasn't changed. You are not your past. You are not your choices. You are not your lowest moment. There's always a way back, always a moment to turn around. Purity isn't just for the perfect, it's for the brave. The ones who are willing to choose purpose over pressure. The ones who dare to believe that love still means something, that marriage is still sacred, that your body is still a temple, that your heart deserves more than temporary affection. I know the wait is hard. I know the world will make fun of you. I know the pressure can be overwhelming. But hear me. There's a kind of love that honors the wait. A kind of love that doesn't need to rush. A kind of love that will meet you at the altar and say, I waited for you too. That's the kind of love I believe in. That's the kind of love that purpose prepares you for. So don't be ashamed of your stand. Don't be embarrassed by your boundaries. You're not being old-fashioned. You're being faithful to your dreams, to your future, to the love story that's still being written. And when you choose purity, you're not saying you're perfect. You're saying you're intentional. You're saying you know your value. You're saying, I don't need to be like everyone else. I just need to be true to the calling I've been given. Because in the end, it's not about perfection. It never was. It's always been about purpose. Waiting is hard, but worth it. That's something I had to tell myself over and over again. Not just once, not just twice, but many times in the quiet spaces of my life. When the nights felt long and the silence felt loud. When it seemed like everyone else was finding their person, moving forward, stepping into new seasons, and I was still waiting. There's a kind of ache that comes with waiting. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just a subtle tug on your heart. You smile for others. You clap when they find love. But deep down, there's a whisper. When will it be my turn? And then you wrestle with the question, is this waiting even worth it? Yes, it is. It doesn't always feel that way though. Waiting can look like watching your friends fall in love while you go home to an empty room. It can feel like answering the same questions at family gatherings. Wala ka pa kin boyfriend. When are you getting married? With a polite smile and a quiet prayer that one day you'll have an answer that makes sense. It's sitting through another wedding, holding back tears, not because you're bitter, but because you're still hopeful. And hope, when stretched too long, can feel painful. But you wait. Not because you're desperate, but because you're discerning. Not because you're picky, but because you're preparing. You're not waiting for just a relationship. You're waiting for the right one. The one that honors your values. The one that sees your worth. The one that doesn't complete you, but walks beside you as you both pursue what matters most. The truth is, waiting reveals a lot. It reveals what you believe about yourself. It reveals your deepest desires. And sometimes it reveals wounds you didn't even know were there. You start to wonder, am I not enough? Did I miss my chance? Is something wrong with me? But those thoughts, those lies, don't define you. They're not the truth. Because waiting is not a punishment. It's a process. It's the space where God works behind the scenes, writing stories we can't see yet. It's where character is built, where trust is tested, where hearts are prepared. And while you wait, life doesn't pause. There is purpose in your now. There is beauty in this season. You don't have to sit in a corner holding your breath for someone to come and change your life. You can live fully, love deeply, grow steadily, and become the person you were always meant to be. There were moments when I thought maybe I was asking for too much, that maybe I needed to lower my standards. But then I remembered what's meant for you doesn't need to be chased. It will come when it's time. And when it does, you'll understand why the waiting had to be part of the story. Because when you meet the right one, the one who sees you, values you, honors the wait with you, it will make sense. You'll look back and thank God that certain doors stayed closed, that certain people walked away, that certain seasons didn't last forever. Because if they did, you wouldn't be ready for what's next. Waiting teaches you to surrender, to let go of timelines and trust in God's timing, to stop comparing your journey with others and start embracing your own. It's not about being behind, it's about being aligned with your purpose, with your peace, with the right person. So if you're waiting right now, don't give up, don't settle, don't rush the process, even when it's painful, even when you feel forgotten, because what's coming is worth it. The kind of love that doesn't confuse you, but confirms you. The kind of relationship that grows with you, not against you. The kind of partnership that reflects what you've always prayed for. And when that day comes, when you finally step into the moment you've been waiting for, it won't just be about finding someone. It will be about becoming someone. Someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who knows that every second of waiting wasn't wasted. It was necessary. Waiting's hard, yes. But when love arrives, wrapped in respect, commitment, and peace, you'll whisper to yourself with a grateful heart, it was all worth it. The world offers pressure, but God offers peace. And sometimes, the pressure is so loud, you forget what peace even feels like. You wake up and instantly feel like you're already behind. Social media shows you everything you don't have, everything you're not doing, everyone you haven't become. It's like every scroll is a silent competition. Who's more successful? Who got married first? Who's living their dream life? You start to measure yourself with someone else's ruler, and before you know it, the joy you once had begins to fade. There's pressure to perform, to be enough, to have it all figured out, to always look good, sound right, and say the perfect thing. There's pressure to be in a relationship by a certain age, to achieve something big before a certain deadline, and if you don't, people start to ask questions, and sometimes so do you. What's wrong with me? Why is everyone else moving forward while I feel stuck? The world loves to put us in boxes, to define us by what we have or what we do. And if you're not producing, if you're not achieving, if you're not constantly proving your worth, then somehow it feels like you don't matter. But that's not the truth. Because while the world screams for your attention, for your performance, for your perfection, God whispers. He doesn't rush you. He doesn't compare you. He doesn't hold a stopwatch and say, you're too late. No. He looks at you with gentleness and says, be still, I'm here. You don't have to strive, you're already loved. That's peace. That's the kind of peace the world can't give. Because peace isn't the absence of problems. It's the presence of purpose. It's knowing that even if everything around you is chaotic, your heart can still be calm. Not because your circumstances are easy, but because your soul is anchored in something deeper. There were moments when I tried to chase what the world calls success. I thought, if I just do more, if I just become more, maybe then I'll be enough. But every achievement left me more exhausted than fulfilled. And every like on social media felt like an empty echo, because no amount of applause can fix what only peace can heal. Peace doesn't rush. Peace knows timing. Peace lets you grow slowly, quietly, intentionally. And it gives you the strength to say, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not falling behind. I'm exactly where I need to be. When God is in control, delay is never denial. It's divine preparation. Pressure says, hurry up or you'll miss it. Peace says, if it's meant for you, it won't pass you. Pressure says, you're not doing enough. Peace says, just stay faithful. Pressure wants results. Peace wants surrender. And in surrender, you'll find rest. The kind of rest that goes beyond physical. The kind of rest that reaches deep into your soul and says, you're safe here. You're seen here. You're not being judged. You're being held. It takes courage to choose peace in a world that's always in a race. It takes faith to slow down when everyone else is speeding up. But there's something beautiful about choosing differently, about saying, I don't want a life that looks good but feels empty. I want a life that feels whole, even if it's quiet. So, if you feel the pressure, breathe. You don't have to carry it alone. You don't have to keep up. You don't have to be perfect. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to say no. You're allowed to protect your peace. Because when everything else fades, the trends, the titles, the noise, what matters is what's happening in your heart. And when your heart is at peace, you can love more deeply, dream more clearly, and live more freely. The world will always offer pressure, but you don't have to take it, because there's another invitation waiting for you. An invitation to walk with grace, to trust the process, to let go of the weight you were never meant to carry. You were not created to live under pressure. You were created to live in peace. Purity protects what's sacred, not just what's seen, but what's felt, what's held close, what's lived deep inside the heart. It's not about rules, it's about reverence. It's about recognizing that there are parts of you that aren't for public display, parts of you that were never meant to be handed out easily, parts that deserve honor, wholeness, respect. The world today celebrates exposure. It glorifies being raw without discernment, oversharing without reflection. There's pressure to give pieces of yourself to anyone who shows even the smallest form of affection. Like, if you don't offer yourself quickly, you'll be forgotten, left behind, replaced. But purity doesn't work that way. Because what's sacred isn't meant to be rushed, touched without meaning, or taken without commitment. I've learned that when you treat something as sacred, you handle it differently. You don't throw it around. You don't lend it to people who won't take care of it. You don't gamble with it hoping that maybe this time it won't break. Sacred things are protected not because they're fragile, but because they're valuable. Purity is not just about the physical, it's about the emotional, the spiritual. It's protecting your peace when the wrong person tries to disturb it. It's saying no to attention that doesn't come with intention. It's guarding your joy, your self-worth, your identity from relationships that want to consume without giving back. There's this misconception that purity means inexperience, that it makes you naive or sheltered. But I think purity is one of the strongest things a person can choose. It takes strength to walk away when your heart wants to stay. It takes strength to wait for the one who truly sees you, values you, and honors you. I think purity means inexperience that makes you better people. And it takes strength to wait for the one who truly sees you, values you, and honors you. And it takes strength to say, I won't give myself to someone who isn't willing to give their whole life in return. Sometimes choosing purity means walking alone for a while. And yes, it can be lonely. But there's a kind of peace in knowing that your heart isn't entangled with people who don't deserve it. That your future isn't being built on shaky ground. That one day, when the right person comes, you'll be able to give them something whole, something sacred that wasn't handed out in peace. It's not always easy. There will be voices around you that say it doesn't matter, that ask, why are you making such a big deal out of it? But just because something is common doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's normal doesn't mean it's good. You don't have to follow a broken pattern just to feel accepted. You don't have to settle for temporary when you're called to eternal. Purity is a declaration. I know who I am. I know what I carry, and I won't give it away just to feel less alone tonight. It's knowing that your worth doesn't increase with someone's approval, and it doesn't decrease with someone's rejection. You were already valuable before anyone noticed you. When someone truly loves you, they will protect your purity with you. They won't pressure you to cross lines you're not ready to cross. They won't test your boundaries just to feed their own desires. The one who is meant for you will cherish what's sacred. They won't just be patient, they'll be purposeful. And if you've made choices in the past that you regret, it's not too late. You're not damaged. You're not disqualified. Purity isn't about having a perfect record. It's about making a decision today, a decision to start again, to reclaim what the world said you lost, to say, this part of me is still sacred, and I will treat it that way from this moment on, because what's sacred still has meaning, still holds beauty, still deserves honor. You don't need to explain your standards. You don't need to defend your values. You just need to stand in them. Quietly, confidently, faithfully. Let the world call it old-fashioned. You just keep protecting what's sacred. Because someday, when the right love enters your life, you'll see every boundary you protected, every no you had the courage to say, every tear you cried while waiting, it was all worth it. Because purity protects what's sacred. And so are you. True love respects boundaries. It doesn't push, it doesn't pressure, and it doesn't take more than what is freely given. It doesn't manipulate your heart or guilt you into surrender. It knows when to hold on and when to wait. It listens when you say not yet. And it honors the silence when your heart says, I'm still healing. Because true love doesn't rush the process. It walks with you through it. I've seen how easy it is to confuse intensity with intimacy. Sometimes we mistake attention for affection. Just because someone shows up consistently doesn't mean they truly care. Just because they make you feel wanted doesn't mean they understand your worth. And it's in those moments when emotions are high and lines start to blur that boundaries matter the most. Boundaries are not walls. They're not built to keep love out. They're there to keep respect in, to preserve your peace, protect your values, and remind you that your body, your heart, your time, they're not for everyone. They're for someone who is willing to treat them with reverence. True love doesn't make you question your convictions. It doesn't test your limits just to see how far you'll bend. It doesn't leave you feeling small, ashamed, or uncertain. It gives you space to breathe. It makes you feel safe. And it never makes you choose between love and self-respect. I used to think that if someone truly loved me, they would fight for me. But what I've learned is that the real fight is not for possession, it's for protection. The kind of love that's worth waiting for doesn't just want you physically. It wants your trust, your dreams, your future, and it's willing to wait as long as it takes to receive that part of you the right way, through honor, not haste. And someone who truly loves you will show it by how they treat your boundaries, especially when it's inconvenient for them. Sometimes we lower our standards just to keep someone around. We convince ourselves that maybe love means compromise. Maybe being wanted is enough. But deep down, you know when something doesn't feel right. You know when your heart is unsettled. That quiet discomfort, that's your spirit asking you to pause, to listen, to remember your worth. And if someone walks away because of your boundaries, let them. You were never meant to hold on to someone who couldn't honor the pace your heart needs. The right one won't just stay. They'll stand with you. They won't make you explain why your boundaries matter. They'll already understand because they're guarding their own too. That's what love looks like when it's mature, when it's not based on desire, but on direction, when it's not focused on taking, but on building. And that kind of love, that's rare, that's sacred, that's worth waiting for. So don't be afraid to draw the line. Don't be afraid to say, this is what I need to feel safe. This is what I need to feel respected. The right person won't be intimidated by your standards. They'll be inspired by them. They'll rise to meet them. Not because they have to, but because they want to. Boundaries don't push love away. They filter out what's not love to begin with. They create a space where trust can grow, where peace can stay, and where love can last. Not everything that feels good is good for you. And not everyone who wants you is ready to love you. So, take your time. Say no when you need to. Hold your ground when it matters, because you are not too much. You are not asking for too much. You are just asking for the kind of love that knows your value and is willing to act like it. True love respects boundaries. And when you find it, you'll never have to trade your dignity to keep it. You'll never have to sacrifice your convictions to be seen. You'll never have to compromise your soul just to be loved. Because the love that is real, the love that stays, will never ask you to lose yourself. It will honor every part of you, especially the ones you fought hard to protect. So if you're waiting, don't give up. If you've made mistakes, you can still choose today to start again. Because love that's real will wait, will honor, will protect. And when that day comes, the day you walk down that aisle, look into the eyes of the one you prayed for, you'll whisper to yourself, it was worth every second I waited. True love waits, and you are worth the wait.